Pope Leo XIV is set to celebrate his first Christmas Mass as pontiff in just a few hours. The Mass will take place inside St. Peter's Basilica at 10 p.m. in Rome. The Vatican says children from 6 countries will carry flowers alongside the Pope during the procession to the nativity scene. For more, let's bring in ABC News foreign correspondent Patrick Reevell and Colleen Dully, Vatican correspondent at America Magazine and author of Struck Down, Not Destroyed, Keeping the Faith as a Vatican reporter. So, Colleen, what can we expect from the Mass later today?
Certainly, I highly expect that Pope Leo is going to continue his messaging about peace. He said in his Christmas card for the year that he hopes that this Christmas will also be the birth of peace. He says the nativity of Christ is the nativity of peace. And last night, as he was speaking to reporters, he said that he hopes that there will be 24 hours of ceasefire. So I'm very much expecting that this will happen again in his homily, that he'll call for peace.
And Patrick, as we just heard from Colleen, last night the Pope spoke to reporters as he was returning to the Vatican, and he talked about the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. What is he saying about the situations there?
Yeah, Rena, as Colleen was saying, the Pope is putting peace at the center of his message this Christmas. And he spoke with reporters yesterday, bringing up first Ukraine, saying that he was greatly saddened that Russia had refused a Christmas truce and appealing again for a ceasefire for at least 24 hours over Christmas around the world. He also brought up Gaza, saying that he had spoken with the priest of the only church in Gaza, continuing a tradition that Pope Francis had made of speaking regularly with the priest there. And Pope Leo saying that they were attempting to celebrate Christmas in Gaza in very precarious conditions, and saying that he hopes the peace agreement will continue and will hold. And of course, as you were showing at the top, tonight in Bethlehem, for the first time since October 7th, thousands of people celebrating Christmas, a tree there on the square. The fact that it's taking place there, it was cancelled because Christians did not want to mark Christmas or to celebrate while there's so much killing and destruction was going on in Gaza. The fact that it's happening tonight, a small sign of peace, people hoping for real peace in Gaza next year.
Absolutely. And Colleen, how might this Mass be different from ones we've seen in the past?
Well, certainly already it's a little different because it's later than it has been in past years. In recent years, it's been at 7, usually started at 7:30. This year, it's at 10 p.m. And I think this is in part because we now have a Pope who is much younger, who has a lot more energy, who can stay up later. He's also really beefed up the papal Christmas schedule. So tomorrow morning, he'll be celebrating Mass again at 10 a.m. This is the first time there's been a Christmas morning Mass in the Vatican, celebrated by a pope since 1994 with John Paul II. And then he's keeping a very busy schedule throughout the rest of the week, too.
And Patrick, the Vatican says, as we mentioned, 10 children from 6 different countries will take part in the procession. What do you think the message is by the Pope sending by highlighting children and global representation tonight?
Yeah, Rena, as you say, there's going to be 10 children from 6 countries taking part in the Midnight Mass tonight. They're coming from Mozambique, Paraguay, Poland, South Korea, and Ukraine. And again, I think it is notable that that country is being represented. The Pope once again trying to show solidarity, I think, with that country and its suffering there. Since he became Pope, he has spoken out very often about the war in Ukraine and has also sought more than Pope Francis to put some of the responsibility for the war on Russia. But clearly also just having these kids from so many parts of the world taking part is meant to show, to send a signal of unity of one church. But ultimately, as we've been saying, I think the real clear message from the Pope this Christmas is one of peace, Rena.
Yeah, unity and peace is what it seems to be about tonight. And Colleen, Cardinal Timothy Dolan is holding his last Christmas Eve Mass tonight in New York before he retires. How significant is this moment?
Well, it's a big moment in transition for the Church of New York because Cardinal Dolan has been there quite a long time. He's a larger-than-life personality, but as he steps back, he's being replaced with Bishop Ronald Hicks, who comes from Joliet, Illinois, actually grew up like 14 blocks away from Pope Leo as a child, and he has a very strong emphasis on migrants, on things that are associated with maybe the more progressive wing of the church, which Cardinal Dolan was less so associated with. So it'll be interesting to see how this slightly more reserved personality with some different priorities takes on this major role in New York.
Interesting indeed. Colleen Dully, Patrick Reevell, our thanks to both of you.